Welcome, Coach John Kentera, once again with San Diego Sports Talk. Hope you enjoyed our first podcast on Monday. And like we said right from the get-go, we're going to be doing videos or audios starting out at least twice a week. And I would also ask you to get signed up and please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Again, it's on YouTube. You can also, if you would, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the content. Always a lot of great Padre content as well as other content regarding San Diego sports, whether it's the high school level, college level, or professional level. And also, you can follow me, Coach John Kentera, on X and Facebook. And on X, I'm at Coach Kentera 44, at Coach Kentera 44. Well, we had some extremely nice compliments from that first podcast. And again, kind of a work in progress for this gentleman. Had never done a podcast till the other day, but we're very happy with the way it turned out. And more than that, I'm very happy that you folks out there seem to have really liked what I had to do. Well, we're going to get into the Padres here a little bit. And boy, I'll tell you what, they had one heck of a road trip. We're going to talk about the overall road trip here in a minute, but we got to talk about them taking 2 out of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds. They took it from being a good road trip to a great road trip on Thursday afternoon when they were able to win that rubber game in 10 innings, 6-4. That was fantastic because, it really looked like they had lost some momentum in that ball game. They were up 4-1. Reds cut it to 4-2. Enyel de los Santos gave up that 2-run bomb to the former Padre. Remember Nick Martini, who played for the Padres back in 2019? He took one over the boards to tie the ball game up. But the Padres, they get the big double by Tatis in the top half of the 10th inning. Fernando did not look good swinging the bat, really. I didn't think really in that road trip. His numbers have to pick up. Every once in a while, he'll run into one. But consistently, his at-bats had just not been great and hit into a lot of double plays. But he came through in the clutch in the 10th inning. And then Jake Cronenworth, who didn't have a hit on the day, ended up getting a sacrifice fly to get them that all-important second run in the 10th. And Robert Suarez closed it out. There were some interesting things in that ball game, in the rubber game. And really, we can talk about Matt Waldron. He did a nice job, no question about it. Going 5 innings, giving up 2 earned runs. But really, the two guys for me that really stood out on the mound, Jeremiah Estrada, this rookie, man, he has come up and hit the ground running. He was absolutely nails. Not only did he throw the 8th inning, he threw the 9th inning and struck out 5 of the 6 batters he faced. He was absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's got a 3-picks mix. He throws a fastball, got that slider, and he got that devastating forkball. And this guy, he pitching like he's not afraid. A lot of guys, folks, that come up from the minor leagues, and even pitchers that are having problems that have been around, they get a little bit tentative and they want to nibble. Then they fall behind. Then they got to come in with a fastball and they get crushed. You got to trust your stuff. One of the things that I learned working with pitchers for so many years at the high school and college level and getting guys ready to go to spring training that were professional pitchers. And I really learned a lot of it, even more so after I got done coaching with Randy Jones. I mean, Randy would say, you got to trust your stuff. And he would go down to the Padre clubhouse from time to time over the years and say, hey, man, you got good stuff. You got to trust it. And there's some guys on this Padre team that need to trust their stuff. But a guy like Jeremy Estrada coming up from the minor leagues, he going, hey, here I am. This is what I'm going to throw. See if you can hit me. Not only did he pitch 2 shutout innings with 5 punch-outs, picked up his first major league victory. So congratulations to him. And then Robert Suarez. Bob Suarez doing one hell of a job. His ERA well under 1 right now. How about 0.40? And once again, he closed it out for his 14th save. I mean, just, you know what? You go back to 2 years ago, I thought he pitched really well. And everybody will want to point out to the Bryce Harper home run he gave up in the NLCS. And why did Bob Melvin let him face Bryce Harper? I had no problem with that move. I don't have any problem with that move today. Bob Suarez, That was the only home run he gave up the entire year to a left-hand batter. And, Harper hit it the other way in that short porch at Citizens Bank Ballpark. I didn't have a problem with that. I really didn't. But last year, he was never really right. He was never really right. Um, and, I think the Padres, they had to make a call. You knew Josh Hader wasn't coming back. And believe me, I don't miss Hader at all. I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan for a variety of reasons. Namely, he basically dictated to the organization when he was going to pitch, when he wasn't going to pitch. And I got a real problem with that. And it's very hard for a manager to navigate when you got a closer down there and he may not want to pitch a third day. Well, that's what he decided to do. He got paid big money with Houston, and so far he's fallen on his face with the Astros, not pitched well at all. I don't wish him any ill will, but I wasn't a big fan. And the Padres, they didn't go out and bring in a closer. I mean, you can talk about Yuki Matsui, but he's a setup guy. They signed Woo Suk Go. They've already traded him. He couldn't even make the roster out of spring training. They sent him to Double-A, and they sent him in a trade already. Save a little money there because they made a big mistake on him. That wasn't a real costly mistake the way baseball goes, but they moved on from him very, very quickly. But the two guys that really stood out in the Thursday game to get that rubber game was Jeremiah Estrada and Robert Suarez. Okay, you take a look at the road trip overall. I mean, you go into Atlanta, and the Padres historically, surprisingly, as good as the Braves have been, over the last decade, have performed very well against the Atlanta Braves. They took 3 out of 4. And, there were some tight ball games, but the Padres also swung the bat very well. And anytime they needed to step up to the plate and get the job done offensively, they did. And the pitching's been great. I mean, the pitch has been great. I mean, really, the only guy that really is struggling right now is Joe Musgrove, and I'm not considering him completely healthy. We're going to see him in the third and final game against the Yankees. We'll talk about those pitching matchups a little bit later on. But the Padres played very, very well. And finally, with the win against the Reds, they fly home with a better than 500 record. I mean, I've been going crazy, and I know you've been going crazy as well, folks. I mean, they get to 500, they go a game over, they drop back, they drop a game under, then they win 2, and they're a game over, then they're back to 500. They're actually flying home with a smile on their face. They're 1 game over 500 right now, and that's absolutely tremendous. And really, when you take a look at their road record, I was looking at some of their road numbers. They're 17-10 on the road. That's great. I mean, the old saying is, hey, play, good ball at home, have a winning record at home, and play 500 on the road. Well, the Padres have been better than just playing 500 on the road. They're 17-10 right now on the road. But they're a paltry in front of the great crowds that you people provide every night at Petco Park. Their record is a paltry 10-16. Now they're going to be starting, and we're going to get more into it and talk about the Yankees and Juan Soto and the whole crew coming to town, Judge and Stanton and Volpe and Aaron Boone and those guys here a little bit later on. But they've got 3 against the Yankees, and then they got the Marlins. I know, oh, man, the Marlins, everybody's licking their chops. Or, oh, yeah, the Marlins are coming to town. Well, hey, you know what? Marlins, their record isn't very good, but they got some good players on any given night. They can get the job done. So I wouldn't exactly put the cart before the horse on that series. And we've seen the Pod. We just saw what they did last time at home when they got beat 3 straight by the Colorado Rockies. I mentioned on the first podcast the other day, and a lot of people picked up on it. Padres are so frustrating, yet I'm encouraged. And you had to be encouraged on this road trip, 5-2. Now they're coming home to take on the great Yankees. But I want to talk about some of the offensive performances. And we got to start. Before that, I want to talk about Xander Bogarts because I don't want him to be forgotten right now. I know Xander's not going to be back now for probably 2 months. And I've already seen people go, well, he wasn't doing all that much. Hey, let me tell you something, folks. Xander Bogarts at some point in time would have got it going. Okay, he'd have found a way to hit 270 to 285. I guarantee it. Now, that chance will probably not happen this year. I mean, I just hope he can come back. They're saying right now 2 months with that fractured left shoulder. Isn't it amazing? They do the initial X-ray on him, and they go negative. No structural damage. Blah 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 blah. Then they do an MRI. They do more imaging, and all of a sudden now the guy's got a fractured left shoulder. How frustrating is that? And it's frustrating for Xander, for the team, and I think for most of us fans. I like that guy. I like him a lot. I've talked about his high character, good teammate, hardworking guy, introverted guy that beats himself up when he doesn't perform well for you folks out there. And that's really the truth. But you know what? Padres are going to have to get by without him. We've seen Cronenworth already at second base since Xander's out. Arraez will get work. Solano will get work. Tyler Wade, who on Wednesday had a 2-hit game, doing a nice job. I know a lot of people were not real high on Tyler Wade, but he's doing a very nice job right now. And he's earned his roster spot, I think. I made a big deal out of it. And if you listen to my radio show when I'd have my open, I always talked about having veterans on the bench. Well, you take a look at that Padre bench right now. They got a lot of veterans on that bench. Solano, they pick up David Peralta, and I'm going to talk about Peralta here in a minute. But you got a lot of veterans on that bench right now, and that's what you need. When you're an established major league player, you can work on coming off the bench. If you're a young guy coming up from the minor leagues and are not established, it's tough being a pinch hitter or playing, a couple times a week. Very difficult to keep your timing and know how to properly get prepared. So I think Adrian's done a really good job in that area. But as far as Bogarts, let's just hope that he's able to come back. Hopefully it's nothing worse than just a fracture and he doesn't need surgery. I don't want to go 3 weeks here and then all of a sudden, Xander Bogarts needs surgery. How many times have we heard that with a Padre pitcher? Well, they're going to give him a little time off, a little sore. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then all of a sudden we find out the guy needs Tommy John or elbow surgery or shoulder surgery. Hopefully that's not the case with Xander Bogarts. Let's talk about Luis Arraez. Oh, man. How good has this guy been? I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic. Now, think about this. And this is where I'll throw some Padre history at you. Luis Arraez has hit in 8 straight games, multi-hit games, where he's had 2 or more hits. In fact, the last 2 games in Cincinnati, he's had 8 hits. He had 4 hits on Wednesday. He had 4 more on Thursday. But he's had 8 straight multi-hit games. The club record is 9. And no, it's not by my buddy Tony Gwynn, number 19. It's by Gary Sheffield back in 1992. Gary Sheffield hit in 9 straight multi-hit games. And by the way, that's also the year that Gary Sheffield won the batting title and beat Tony Gwynn for the batting title. Little Padre history on that. But Luis Arraez has been amazing. And, everybody talks about his deficiencies of, he doesn't run well. He's not a good fielder. You know what? I haven't seen him make any bad plays. He played first base on Thursday. He's played second base. He'll DH a little bit. And if you go back and take a look at the game on Thursday, he was leading off the top half of the 10th inning. Runner on second base, Luis Campusano. He laid down a bunt down the first baseline. Campusano easily would have got to third base, but the pitcher had to rush over the line. Perfect bunt. And he beat it out for his 4th hit. So 8 hits in the final 2 games of the series for Luis Arraez. I can't speak more highly of a guy right now. He's been absolutely on fire. He's a great table setter for the Padres. And really, that's exactly what they needed in a trade, to get a guy that could really do the job in the leadoff spot. There's still times where I'd like to see, I don't know about you, but I'd like to see Fernando lead off. Fernando, to me, just doesn't look right. He just doesn't look right to me. And I don't know what the problem is, but he's been very much a free swinger. He's hit, like I mentioned earlier, into a lot of double plays. He did have the key double in the 10th on Thursday, but man, he just doesn't look right to me. And he really hasn't looked right to me all year. Every once in a while, he'll hit a ball out of the ballpark, and we'll all get excited, and we keep waiting for a little bit more. He'll probably end up with 25 to 30 homers. But he just doesn't look right, not hitting for much of an average, not getting on base all that much. But it is what it is. Let's talk about David Peralta. David Peralta, and I want to tell you a story about David Peralta because, I mentioned him the other day that the Padres had signed him, and between the first podcast and this one, he got called up because of the injury to Xander Bogarts. I've always been a fan of guys that are grinders and guys that deal with adversity well. And baseball is a game of adversity. You know, they always say, boy, if you, you fail, but if you succeed 3 times out of 10, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. Here's a story on David Peralta. He's Venezuelan, and he signed way back when and got hurt. He was actually a pitcher. He was a left-handed pitcher, and he hurt his arm, and eventually got released. But he loved the game of baseball, and so what he did was he got hooked on to an independent team, and he started playing the outfield. Now think about this. Here's a guy that hurts his arm as a pitcher, but he doesn't want to take the uniform off and go get a regular job. He did go get a regular job at a fast food restaurant to where he could get gas money to be able to drive to his games and drive to workouts and that. But he ended up signing with an independent team and worked his way through independent ball, was putting up good numbers, and the Arizona Diamondbacks gave him an opportunity. And he worked his way up through the Diamondback organization, got to the big leagues, had some really good years with them, and then they traded him to Tampa Bay. And a year ago, the Dodgers gave him an opportunity. He had some injuries that he had to take care of during the offseason, got a little bit of a late start, but the Padres signed him to a minor league contract. And now on Wednesday, his first game with the Padres, he went 0-for-2 with an RBI, but came back in the game Thursday and went 3-for-4. So he's riding home, eating his turkey sandwich and drinking his favorite drink, hitting 500, 3-for-6 in his first 2 games as a Padre. And David Peralta, good teammate, great story. Started his 11th year in the big leagues on Wednesday. That's an amazing story of a guy that persevered, loved the game of baseball, and after he couldn't pitch any longer, ended up becoming an outfielder, working his way to the big leagues, and really had some really nice years. No question about it. Okay, some of the other things I wanted to talk about today was I want to get into the Yankee series. And I also want to give you the pitching matchups a little bit for that series. I got to tell you, the pitching, you couldn't ask for better pitching matchups. And right now, the Yankees are just absolutely on fire. Yankees are 35-17. They're first in the National League East. They're 17-9 on the road this year and 17-8 at Yankee Stadium. Right now, they're plus 79 in run differential. They've been bludgeoning teams. And on Thursday, they shut out the Seattle Mariners 5-0. And but I want to give you the pitching matchups because they're awesome. They're awesome. And Musgrove could get back in tune with being the old Joe Musgrove. The game on Sunday will be marvelous as well. Joe's got to try to, get through at least 5 innings. I mean, he's having a hard time getting to 5 innings right now. And again, I'm not convinced he's healthy. I'm just not convinced he's healthy. Okay, Friday night, 6:40, left-hander Carlos Rodon, 5-2 and a 3.27, going against right-hander Yu Darvish, 4-1 and a 2.08 ERA. And he's thrown 25 scoreless frames, a career high for Yu Darvish, coming off that win the other night. Gave him his 200th professional win between Japan and MLB. So Yu Darvish pitching well. And again, cross your fingers that he stays healthy. Saturday, 6:40, another dynamic matchup. Right-hander Marcus Stroman, 3-2 and a 3.05 ERA, going against right-hander Dylan Cease, 5-3 and a 3.05. Dylan Cease coming off a subpar performance last time out against the Bravos. And then Sunday, a 110 game. Right-hander Clark Schmidt, 5-2 and a 2.59, going against Joe Musgrove, 3-4 with a 5.93. Also, want to remind you, Memorial Day, the Marlins will be in town. That's going to be a 3:40 start on Monday for Memorial Day. And then Tuesday, 6:40 against the Marlins. And getaway day for the Padres will be Wednesday at 1:10. Then Thursday they'll be off. And then they start a 6-game road trip, 3 in Kansas City and then 3 up in Anaheim against the Angels. Now, as far as taking a look at the Yankees a little bit, and I know there are going to be a lot of people all fired up about Juan Soto coming to town. Juan Soto right now hitting .312 with a .409 on base percentage, 13 dingers, 41 RBIs. And it's already started. Where is Juan Soto going to play next year? I don't know if the Yankees are going to sign him. I don't know about you, but is he a $400 million player? I mean, seriously, folks, is he a $400 million player? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, he's a good offensive player. I don't think, from what I've seen of Juan Soto, I'm not sure he's going to age well. I mean, he runs okay right now. He's 25 years of age. Where's he going to be in 10 or 12 years? Padres are already saddled with a bunch of contracts. We wouldn't need more contracts. The Padres aren't going to try to sign Juan Soto, but the Padres have their own issues with Machado and with Xander Bogarts, and hopefully Tatis gets back to being the Tatis prior to those injuries and that suspension. But Juan Soto, will the Mets sign him? I can't imagine the Dodgers signing him. And, I've had a lot of people ask me, what did you think about Juan Soto while he was here? Well, I said it, and I said it over and over and over. I want to see him be more aggressive at the plate. And I thought the second half of last year, maybe he listened to my show on his way to the ball game. I know Bob Melvin did all the time. Bob Melvin he wrote me after I left the radio station saying, hey, I'm really going to miss your show, man. I love listening to you on the way to the ballpark every day, which was really kind to him. But maybe Juan Soto listened to my show. I go, you got to be more aggressive. You can walk all you want, but you got to swing the bat. Guys like Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Tatis, they're in the lineup to do damage, not to walk. I mean, the old saying in baseball, the only guy that walks is the mailman. I mean, unless you got a table setter at the top of the lineup, the days like a Ricky Henderson or a Tim Raines, or going way back to a Maury Wills or a Lou Brock, you want guys swinging the bat. Yeah, you want leadoff hitters to get on, but even leadoff hitters have changed over the last decade plus with, all the different stats they look at right now. But Juan Soto did a lot of damage, and right now he's doing quite a bit of damage for the New York Yankees. But, I think the suitors for Juan Soto are going to be few. Maybe the Yankees bring him back. Maybe the Mets, they're so desperate to win. I can't imagine the Dodgers going that direction at all. I'd be shocked. And I found Juan Soto to be, I don't know the type of word I want to use. I don't know what kind of teammate he was. I know what kind of teammate Machado is. I know what kind of teammate Bogarts is. I know what kind of teammate Tatis is. I think Soto looked at himself as being a hired gun here. And I don't think that he ever really bought into Padre baseball. There were just too many things that led me to believe that maybe Juan Soto thought he was too good to be a San Diego Padre. And maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe I've judged this man unfairly, but I don't think so. I don't think he ever really was fully engaged being a Padre. I think maybe that first year when he came over and he was kind of the hired gun for the second half of the 2022 season, it really didn't perform all that well. Last year, he ended up having a really nice year after getting off to a miserable start. And I don't wish him any ill will. I hope he gets, whatever somebody's willing to pay him. But I don't see him being a $400 million player, because if he doesn't hit, he's not going to run. Not a guy that's going to win a Gold Glove, in my opinion. I couldn't believe in 2022, he was actually one of the finalists for the Gold Glove in right field. Are you kidding me? Anybody paying attention? Anybody paying attention in that? I don't know about that. But, Aaron Judge, good guy, great teammate. I'll tell you a quick story about Aaron Judge. The young kid from La Costa Canyon, Spencer Jones, who I know very well, I know his mom and dad very well. They come to our big Christmas party we put on every year at the Leucadian. By the way, this year it's on December 6th on a Friday. Even Dodger manager came last year, Dave Roberts, after he met with Ohtani that day, and Josh Stein, the assistant general manager for the Padres. We get a lot of guys that show up to this party, a big party, the Leucadian, north end of Leucadia. You're all invited, December 6th. Starts about 4 o'clock and goes to whenever. But at the end of the day, you got to have guys that buy into what you're selling. And I'm not sure Juan Soto ever completely bought into what the Padres were selling. And, we'll see where it goes on that. But I wanted to tell you about Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones had a really, really good career at La Costa Canyon, had a great career at Vanderbilt. It got interrupted a little bit by a Tommy John surgery, but now he's become one of the top prospects in baseball. 6'7", can play center field, left-handed all the way, got big-time power, can really, really run. I mean, when he played for Justin Machado, I went up there and watched him practice several times, and also went to a lot of his games. I mean, the kid can flat out run. I don't know if he even got thrown out stealing as a senior in high school. Man, he got blazing speed for a guy 6'7". But anyways, Aaron Judge took a bunch of the New York Yankee rookies out during spring training to dinner. And because Aaron Judge is 6'7", he's talking to Spencer, and Spencer's going, yeah, he goes, the socks that they're giving us, they don't go up high enough on me, and I'm having a hard time with them. The next day, Spencer goes into his cubicle in the locker room. There's two pair of socks, compliments of Aaron Judge, that he had sent to Spencer's locker. That tells you the type of guy Aaron Judge is. Okay. And, Giancarlo Stanton's having a nice year. The second-year shortstop, Anthony Volpe, doing a good job. And the Yankees are loaded. They're playing good baseball. And, with Aaron Boone, their manager, they're always going to be fired up. It'll be a very interesting series. We've got Memorial holiday coming up on Monday. I want to wish everyone a very happy Memorial Day. And thanks to everyone out there that served our country. And I certainly thank the folks that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. I've had the opportunity the last 3 years, in fact, to go to the Army-Navy game. And I wear a lot of Army-Navy pullovers. I never served. My family, my dad served in the Army, my uncles, a couple of them served in the Army. I had another one in the old days, the Army Air Force. We've had several family members serve our country. I never did, but I've got the ultimate respect for anybody that has served. And, Monday, there'll be a lot of great holidays, memorial celebrations around San Diego. I'm planning on attending one myself at La Colonial Park in Solana Beach. And if you get the opportunity, I think it'd be very wise to do that. Excited about Padre baseball, 3 against the Yankees. The Marlins move in on Monday, and we'll see where it goes. But boy, one good thing, the boys are going to have a very, very happy flight home and get ready for the Bronx Bombers. And again, we're going to be doing videos a couple times a week. And again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And again, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. We'll eventually get it to where you can send me some questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions. We always have a good time with that. And again, please turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any of the content. And you can follow me, Coach John Kentera, on X and Facebook. And on X, it's at Coach Kentera 44, at Coach Kentera 44. And I'll leave you with this. It's going to be a fun holiday. Everybody gets Monday off, but realize why we're getting that Monday off, and just say a prayer for those folks that gave the ultimate sacrifice for the United States of America. And hopefully our Padres have a great weekend against the New York Yankees. And then we'll be back at and be talking a little bit more about the Miami Marlins coming to town early in the week. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone, and be safe. And once again, thanks for tuning in.